We're making easy and delicious cinnamon rolls that are high in protein and gluten-free with Greek yogurt and almond flour. They do not require any yeast or rising, and we're using coconut sugar and maple syrup, so they have a fraction of the sugar of a traditional recipe. Hello, my name is Nicole Bonilla, and if you love healthier versions of our favorite foods, then you are in the right place. To make these super easy cinnamon rolls, we're going to start with our Greek yogurt, and you'll want to use plain unflavored Greek yogurt. And unfortunately, regular yogurt won't work for this recipe. So I'm going to add 3/4 of a cup of Greek yogurt to my mixing bowl. Now you're welcome to jot down these ingredients as we go along, or you can click on the link that's in the video description, and that will take you to my website that has all the details. Next, we're going to add 3 tablespoons of maple syrup for some natural sweetness, 1 tablespoon of some melted coconut oil. You can use any oil that you like, 1 tablespoon of apple cider vinegar, and 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract. And then I'll just blend this together on low until it's well combined. Next, we're going to add our dry ingredients, which includes 1 3/4 cups of blanched almond flour. Then we'll add 2/3 of a cup of tapioca flour. Now for the protein powder, you could use any powder that you like. I really like using this vanilla flavored protein powder. It's plant-based and has lots of nuts and seeds in it. And I've included a link below if you'd like to check it out. So I'm going to add 1/2 cup of protein powder. And then we're going to add 1 tablespoon of baking powder, 3/4 of a teaspoon of baking soda, and 1/2 teaspoon of salt. I'll just dump those right on top. And then we're just going to blend this together until it's well combined. And as soon as we have all the dry ingredients picked up from the bottom of the bowl, you can stop blending. And you'll know it's the right consistency if it's similar to a cookie dough and just lightly sticky to your fingers. If it's still a little bit too wet and sticky, go ahead and add a little bit more flour. And if it's too dry, go ahead and add just a little bit of Greek yogurt. Now to bake the cinnamon rolls, you'll want to prepare an 8 by 8 inch pan. And I've just taken a sheet of parchment paper. I'm just going to fold one side up on its edge, place my pan on top, score the other edge, fold it down, flip it upside down in my pan, crease the inner corners, and fold the edges up and over. And then I'll take my nonstick spray and go ahead and spray the edges that are exposed. And the parchment paper makes it really easy for getting the cinnamon rolls out of the pan once they're baked. And to form our cinnamon rolls, I find it works really well to use the parchment paper, which is different than wax paper. And I'm just going to pull out a large sheet, which is about twice as big as the size of the spread out dough. Then I'll just fold it in half and give it a light spray just to make sure nothing sticks. Then we can dump the dough out of our bowl. And then I'll just use my spatula to start spreading it out into a large rectangle. And as I'm spreading, I'm pushing the dough out into the corners, which will make it much easier for when we roll it. And then I'll close the parchment paper, and then I'll just gently roll it with my rolling pin, which will help to smooth it out. And then I'll open this up and then just go through with my hands and kind of help smooth all the edges. And I can tell that in this corner it's a little bit thinner where it's a little thicker here. So I'm just going to gently, with my fingers, kind of push some more dough out into this corner, which will make the rolls a little more even. Well, that looks great. And if you'd like to have the measurements, it's about 10 inches wide and about 13 inches long. Now we can make the cinnamon and sugar layer that's going to go over the dough. So we're going to start with 1/4 cup of coconut oil, and you'll want to make sure it's melted. And then we're going to add 1/2 cup of coconut sugar and 1 tablespoon of cinnamon. And then we'll just take a spoon and we'll stir this together until it's well combined. And then we'll just dump this out onto our dough and spread it around with our spoon. Now that it's spread nice and even, I'm going back with my spoon and just gently pressing it down into the dough. And before we roll this up, I'm going to go ahead and tear off our other half of parchment paper. And I'm just going to start on this far edge and lift the paper and just fold over the dough. And just kind of gently press it down. And then I can lift up the paper and just kind of pull it down over the dough. And that's going to naturally cause the dough to start to roll up on itself. This step is very fun and very #satisfying. So I'm going to keep rolling and just kind of pressing down with the paper. And then when I get to the very end, and we'll flip it over, I'll press down on that edge to help seal it. And peel back our paper. And then we have this very beautiful log of cinnamon roll dough. Now the 8 by 8 pan is going to hold 9 cinnamon rolls, and we want to divide this dough into 9 equal parts. So I found the simplest way is just place my fingers on it and visually divide it into thirds. So 1 part, 2 part, 3 parts. And as soon as it looks like those 3 sections are even, make a little indentation with a little knife here. And then I can take each of those sections and again, just divide it into thirds. Make another little mark, a couple marks there, and some marks there. So now I have my guide for 9 rolls. And to slice the rolls, you could just slice through them with a really sharp knife, but I have found the best method is actually using some dental floss. So I'm gonna pull out a nice long piece of floss, and then wrap it around my fingers several times so I have a good grip. And I'm just gonna slide it under the edge of the dough till it lines up with my first guide. Then I'll simply bring the dental floss up over the loaf, cross them past each other, and then just pull. And then the dental floss cuts through the dough with a nice clean line. And then we can repeat by going underneath our dough to the next line, slice it across. Now, if you could use more healthy inspiration on a regular basis, I invite you to join my email list. And all you have to do is click on the link that's in the video description below, and that is the best way for us to stay connected. And now that the rolls are all sliced, I'm just going to take my spatula and gently push it underneath each piece, lift it up, and place it into my pan. And then I'll repeat for the remaining pieces. Oh, that is so satisfying to see those beautiful rolls. And I like to place them in my pan so that they're touching and just a little distance from the edge. Well, these look gorgeous, and they are ready to go into a 350-degree oven for about 22 to 24 minutes, or until the top starts to turn a light golden brown. Well, here are our cinnamon rolls after 24 minutes in the oven, and they look beautiful. They've spread out in the pan and they have this beautiful golden finish on top. Now we'll make a really simple Greek yogurt glaze that we can put on top of the rolls. So we're going to add 1/4 cup of our plain Greek yogurt and 2 tablespoons of some maple syrup. And then I'll just stir those together until they're well combined. And then we have this very simple and healthy glaze. Now you'll have to be patient and let the cinnamon rolls cool off a little bit before you take them out of the pan. I have one here that I made earlier. So I'm just gonna spoon some of that glaze right over the top. Oh my goodness, that looks so good. Get a nice bite with plenty of glaze. That tastes incredible. I enjoy this so much more than a traditional cinnamon roll because of the depth of flavor that you get from the almond flour, and then the protein powder just adds its own unique flavor. And I love the tang coming in from the Greek yogurt that perfectly balances the sweetness. And I want you to know that I believe in you and your ability to make these healthier foods that will leave you feeling fantastic from the inside out. And I want to support you in any way that I can. And I also want to thank you for hanging out with me today in my kitchen. And I've included a link to this full recipe, and it's in the video description below. And that will take you to my website, gentletummy.com. And I also invite you to like and subscribe to my channel. And if you know anyone else who you think would love this high protein recipe, please share this video with them. And I cannot wait to have you hang out with me again in my kitchen.